Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Subway Surfers, my one-man podcast. Today's topic, I was kind of thinking, what could I really talk about? What's going on in my life recently? And there is something going on in my life. Not a major deal, but it's something happening tomorrow. I am going to get my second ever tattoo. If you remember, I do have a vlog of this. It was in December 23rd, right before the end of the year. I got my first ever tattoo. It was a rose on my arm with 999 attached to the rose. Obviously, it's a Juice WRLD themed tattoo, celebrating the life of Juice WRLD, one of my favourite artists, if not my favourite artist of all time. He's up there with Eminem and Post Malone and a bunch of other people. And it was a great experience. It hurt, kind of, but it cost money, which is why I've waited so long to get another one. I say waited so long, it's been 3 months. I've actually not waited long at all. But it's also to stay there for the rest of your life. So you don't want to get a tattoo you regret. So I try my best to take it slow. So I properly think about what I want to get tattooed. So that's why I've waited till March now to get my next tattoo. So tomorrow I'm getting another tattoo. And as you know, I like to get things that actually mean something to me, not just random designs. I don't just want to get a random fucking tiger or a random cool animal or flower design. I know I've got a flower, but it's themed. Do you know what I mean? It's Juice WRLD themed because Juice WRLD means something to me. He was my favourite artist for a very long time and meant a lot to me in my teenage years. And I am still a teenager. So the tattoo I am getting tomorrow, and don't laugh at it, but I am getting the GTA 5 logo. Why? Many goddamn reasons. I mean, GTA 5 is my absolute favourite game of all time. Just hands down. I've got my favourite artist tattooed on us. I think my favourite game of all time is something I could get tattooed on me. Plenty of people do it. Famously, AB just got something from Red Dead Redemption tattooed on him. Do you know what I mean? So it seems appropriate. I have played that game so many goddamn times, and I'm not even talking about online. I've played my fair bit of online, but I was never really good at online. I didn't care for it as much. I'd get bored a lot quicker. It's the story mode, right? And I'm aware it's not like an Oscar-winning story, but it's just good. Everything about the game is satisfying. I wanted to play that game since it came out, since I was a little kid, and I could see that you could just drive around in a free open world and do whatever. It's just, everything about it satisfied me, and I really wanted to play it. And then I got to 13, I eventually got the game, and I never looked back. On the PS4, which is what I originally got it on, I probably played and completed that story about 20 to 30 times. And then I moved over to Xbox One, bought the game again, and probably played it about 40 to 50 times all the way through of the story mode. I might be exaggerating, I might not. I don't have an actual figure for you. I can only check my hours played, and again, that won't be accurate because that's across 3 different consoles at this point, because now I've got it on the Xbox Series S, and I've played it a further 3 times on the Xbox Series S as my final playthrough, and I am actually uploading it on this channel as a playthrough, and this wouldn't be the first time I've uploaded it on this channel as a playthrough, but it will be the first time that I'm actually going to complete the game, because other times when I've started doing a playthrough on this channel, I've never actually completed it, because it's one thing to play the game in your spare time and complete it, it's another to do it on camera as part of a video series, because there's a lot more work that goes into that. So, but I am actually going to complete this one, but it is my favourite game of all time, and I've played it so much, and I think it deserves to be something tattooed on me, because I love it. And I want a good GTA themed tattoo, so I've decided to just go for the logo for now, not the whole Grand Theft Auto wording part, just the green V with the 5 over it, and I'm not quite sure where I am actually going to get it tattooed, because there's multiple places I could put it. I don't want to go somewhere rash that I can't see, like my back, you know what I mean? I want it, wherever it goes, it needs to suit it, it needs to look like it works there. So I asked the tattoo artist, and he said we can decide on the day, a couple of ideas in my head. My original thought was on the shoulder, makes a lot of sense. Loads of people have a singular thing on their shoulder, but then that raises the dilemma of, well, which shoulder? Do I go my left one, because I like to do left arm first, but I've already got a tattoo on my left arm, so do I go right arm just to mix it up a bit? But that would fuck with my OCD, so I genuinely don't know. So I'm going to decide tomorrow. It could be somewhere completely different, like a hand or a leg, so God knows where I'm actually going to get this tattoo and where it's going to end up, but it's going to look good in the end. And it might not be my last ever GTA 5 tattoo. I might get a cool looking picture one time, but I just want to cement that GTA 5 is my the greatest game of all time. And I think now's the appropriate time because, like, I'm dabbling with other tattoos, like an Eminem one, an Anthony Joshua one, a John Cena one, and I'll get into the issues with them later on. But now is the perfect time because I've recently just went on a 3-game playthrough of GTA 5 where I played it through once, being a bad guy as Trevor and being a very good guy as Michael, so I could choose option A and kill Trevor. Then I played it through a second time, being a very bad guy as Michael and being a very good boy as Trevor, so I could kill off Michael. And then I'm now doing it a third time and I'm uploading it on YouTube, and I'm just going to do Death Wish, and the decisions I make are going to be just subjective to the situation. And I've mentioned this before on an episode of Subway Surfers, actually, so that is actually insane. But yeah, this will be my final playthrough probably for a long time because GTA 6 is going to come out at the end of the year, supposedly, and that's when I'm finally going to move on from GTA 5, and it's going to be the end of an era. So I think it's an appropriate time to celebrate how much that game actually means to me and get it tattooed on me. So yeah, plus I just wanted another tattoo. I'm just craving getting tattoos, you know. I'm at that age now where I can get them, and I've got the itch, you know. I might make some regrettable decisions that I might regret in 30 years' time. But hey, what's life for? Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to rush it because I don't want to, like, fill up so much space that I've got so many tattoos in my first 1 or 2 years of being an adult that the rest of my years of being an adult, I've got no room left. So I'm trying my best to take it slow. But that brings me on to the other tattoo ideas, you know, like Eminem. I need to get an Eminem tattoo, but then I was like, do I do another artist after another, or do I go for something else that means something to me? Like my favourite game, like wrestling, like boxing, you know? So I kind of put off the Eminem idea because there's loads of actual good tattoo ideas for Eminem. Like, I won't struggle for a good Eminem tattoo. It's just then deciding which one is actually the right one. So if anything, it's harder. Do you know what I mean? Then when it came to WWE, I thought, well, if I was going to get a WWE tattoo, I wouldn't get a WWE logo. That would just be cringe. I think I'd have to get, like, something cool. And I think if any wrestler's going to get one, it's John Cena. I mean, for many goddamn reasons. A, he was my favourite as a kid. B, he was the whole reason I got into wrestling. Like, I wouldn't have watched wrestling if it wasn't for John Cena. I seen who John Cena was, watched videos of him wrestling, and then after so many years of only watching John Cena, eventually started watching other people. And plus, he's the GOAT. Do you know what I mean? He's the most recognisable wrestler. He just had a retirement year. He's not yet in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know why, but it's time to celebrate him, you know. And that's something else that I struggle with getting a cool tattoo for, because, like, as much as I don't care for random designs and I want things that mean things to me, I still want them to look good. Do you know what I mean? So just doing, like, the "You Can't See Me" or the "Hustle, Loyalty, Respect" logo, they don't look good, you know? Like, as tattoos, like, I don't think that would look very cool. But then again, the only other options are, like, pictures of John Cena, you know, and I need a really cool one for a tattoo, and a lot of them just won't, I don't know where I'd put them, do you know what I mean? So, again, it's a bit of an awkward one, so it's deciding the right tattoo. And then I had a different idea. My idea was, obviously, I want something boxing related, because I do like boxing, you know, probably not as much as I like music and WWE at the moment, though. Everything has its phases, you know. I went through phases where boxing was, like, my everyday, and I just thought, well, who's my favourite boxer of all time? And obviously it's Anthony Joshua, you know, he's my all-time favourite. And I got brought back to a fight that meant a lot to me, which was the Francis Ngannou one, which no one really talks about, you know, which is insane to me, because at the time, like, that was such a big deal. Like, it was 2023, it was a recent fight. He walked in there in 2 rounds and sparked out Francis Ngannou easy, and I thought it was great, because 5 months before, Francis Ngannou had his first ever boxing match and went 10 rounds with Tyson Fury and dropped Tyson Fury. And then Anthony Joshua went in there and sparked him out in 2 rounds. I thought it was Anthony Joshua's cleanest and most satisfying KO. And I also thought it stuck it right to Tyson Fury. As an avid fan of Anthony Joshua and an avid hater of Tyson Fury, well, I'm not even a hater. I'm just like, I don't like him. Do you know what I mean? He's not my favourite. I just thought that was the coolest thing. Like, that was the coolest brag. And the way that, you know, Francis Ngannou was supposed to never be the guy to get hurt, and Anthony Joshua just straight up just wiped him out in 2 rounds. It was mental, you know. It just made me love being an Anthony Joshua fan again, because Anthony Joshua, before Ngannou, was building himself back up. And before he was building himself back up, he'd lost to Usyk. And he'd kind of, you know, he'd been on ups and downs ever since his first loss. So seeing Anthony Joshua look like the man again was just amazing. Plus, I love the way he fights. You got to respect it. Like, he's on the front foot. He takes any opponent he's given. Like, I don't think Anthony Joshua's ever ducked anyone. Like, genuinely, you know. The only people he's been in conversations to fight and not for are the people who don't want to fight him back. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. He's just a great fighter. And I always thought of getting an image of Anthony Joshua knocking out Francis Ngannou would be a cool tattoo. But again, I wasn't sure which one was better, whether I get where the punch was landed, which is a shot from behind of Francis Ngannou, which might not be as satisfying. And then there was also the option to get the one of Francis Ngannou flatlined, but it's not as cool because you can't see the punch, so I don't know. And it was just like, it would be a big tattoo. So I'd have to get that somewhere big, and I think I should get a couple more small ones first and get used to the feeling of having a tattoo. And then that brings me on to, talking about big tattoos. I've already spoke about artists, but one of my favourite artists is Post Malone, right? Juice WRLD, Eminem, Post Malone. Those are like my big three. I would add Crypt in there, but he's not big enough and no one will know who I'm talking about, right? If we're talking about my big three of like popular mainstream artists, Juice WRLD, Eminem, and Post Malone, right? And I went to see Post Malone at Tottenham Stadium in London in September, and it was the best night of my life ever. Like, the best thing I've ever done, because opening act was Jelly Roll as well, I'd got to go to another city that I hardly ever visit, and seen two artists that I love. Visited Manly, had a great time. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to get a tattoo done of a photo I took at the event, to remember the event, because it was just the best time ever, if I haven't already stated. But also because it was a cool photo that I actually managed to take, which is mental, because I am not photogenic. I am not good at taking photos. I'm not good at posing for photos. I just don't get photos. Do you know what I mean? I understand how photos can look aesthetic, and I get it, but I just can't do it. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a really cool photo that would make a cool tattoo. Plus, at some point in my life, I'm getting a Post Malone tattoo. Post Malone means a lot to me, so I'm obviously going to get a Post Malone tattoo at one point. So I thought, I might as well get this photo that I've taken tattooed. But obviously, again, that would be another one that requires a large surface area to tattoo on, and that's like a leg or a stomach or a back, and it's just like, those are heavy, I mean, they take a lot of time, cost a lot of money, and hurt, So I might need to prepare myself for that one a bit more, but that one's definitely coming. I know for a fact I'm going to get it tattooed, because it was just so good, man. But yeah, those are my tattoo ideas. That's what I'm getting up to tomorrow. Getting another tattoo, and it's going to be great. But I might spend quite a bit of time trying to decide where the perfect place is. But I'm going to make sure I get the perfect place, so it looks good, because I do want to look good just as well as getting things that I actually care about and being myself, What else is coming up in my life? I recently got my driving test rescheduled. I'm sure I've spoke before about how I got screwed over by my first driving instructor, and by the time I got a new one, my test was a week away. And bear in mind, this was already like a year and a half after I turned 17, so I was already pissed. So I had to rebook my test, and now I'm with this new instructor and we're doing great. But when I rebooked my test, it pushed us all the way back to August, which is 6 months after I should have had my first test. So I've recently got a cancellation and got it moved to June. So decent compromise. Not happy, because I'm going to be nearly 19 at that point, and I wanted to pass my driving test at 17, and here I am, nearly 19, about to pass it, which is just so annoying. But I've never failed a test, and I'm happy about that, and hopefully I don't fail this one, but I want to be able to say I passed first time, and unfortunately I wanted to be able to say that I could drive at the age of 17, but sometimes it doesn't always happen, when you're trying to pay for it yourself and you only really work a part-time job, sometimes it's not always affordable. And I should have probably got on it a bit earlier. I think I waited a couple of months after I turned 17. I don't know why, because maybe I'm just an overthinker and I'm a procrastinator, and I just kind of put things off. And then there was also the theory test. I should have done the theory test straight away. It's one of the first things my first instructor that actually teaches was, do your theory test, get it out the way. And for some reason, whatever reason, I waited because I wanted to learn all the contents before I booked the test, because I thought, I'm going to book the test and then I'm going to forget to practice and I'm going to fuck it all up. So I'm going to make sure I learn it first and then I'll book it. And that was so stupid, because by the time I had it booked, my theory test was in August. Bear in mind, I started driving in February, which was 5 months after I turned 17. February 2025, I'm talking about here, right? which was 5 months after I turned 17, right? So that isn't good, right? So having the theory test in August meant I was already 6 months in to learn to drive. I should be ready to do a test at that point, do you know what I mean? So I had to wait before I'd passed my theory test to book a practical test. So 6 months into my driving lesson, I can only now just book a practical test, which, bearing in mind, at the time, it was a minimum 6 month wait for a practical test, and it still is, and it just keeps getting bigger. So I was guaranteed to only get a practical test at earliest 1 year after I started learning to drive, because I didn't do my theory straight away. And that's exactly what happened. I got my test in February. So it was going to be February to February, taking a year to learn to drive, which is pathetic because I was going to be 18 by that point. I should have passed when I was 17. I should have started learning to drive well before February. And actually I did, to be fair, but I'll get into that. And I should have done my theory test by February and should have had my test booked for about that August, September time. And I say I waited till February, but I didn't. I started booking it in December, 3 months after I turned 17. And then the first instructor I got within the holidays that I had on in between college. So I booked my first lesson for a time that I wouldn't typically be available, but I was in the holidays, so I did it anyway. That then first instructor informed me that, well, because you booked for this time, you've been given me, but I'm not normally available the times you are available when you're back at college, so you're going to have to get a different instructor. So I had to wait another month for a different instructor, and this was my original instructor that I was talking about before. And I was with him for that next year where I did my theory test and I was waiting for my practical test, and I just kept getting screwed over time and time again with money and not showing up and all that. So when it got to about January and I was a month away from my test, and I'm like, listen, I've not driven in months, the guy doesn't show up. And I hadn't driven over Christmas because I took a period over Christmas off because I'd been driving for so long and I still had a while to wait before my test. I thought, what's the point in wasting my money? So I didn't. And then he just stopped showing up. So I had to get changed. And then I got changed, but I only got my instructor a week before my test, so it had to be postponed. So here we are, awaiting a test in June. We've got 3 months left of this 2-year vortex that I've been stuck in. And yes, it's my fault. It's not, but it is. You know, I could have prevented it, but unfortunate circumstances happened. You know, but one thing I'm proud to say is that I'm not in this mess because of my driving. You know, nothing was a problem with my driving. I mean, technically yes, because the new instructor that I got told me that I wouldn't be ready for the test because he only got me 1 week before and I hadn't driven in months thanks to my old instructor, but that's probably because I hadn't driven in months thanks to my old instructor. And my old instructor used to tell us I was a natural driver, you know. I don't particularly think I'm that great. I know how to drive. I think I can competently drive. But yeah, it's just a long ass drought. But it's finally going to be over soon, thankfully, you know what I mean? It's just one of those annoyances in life that sticks with you. And it's like, it hurts my ego, because it's something I wanted to achieve when I was 17, and here I am. I'm that twat that took 2 years. It's so much painful, so painful. Lots of things in life are painful right now, but I've just got to push through. I've just got to persevere. I've got to be active on this channel and make my dreams a reality, and get out this drought in my life. You know, once I start fixing one problem, the other problems will fix. You know, the driving, the getting college out of the way, the not having money, the chasing my dreams but I'm not successful yet, the being single. All these things are going to be over soon, because I'm going to pass my driving test in June, and by June I'll be done with college. I'll be able to work more and I'll be able to get more money. I'll be able to invest more in my YouTube channel, and at some point my YouTube channel will take off. I'll have loads of money that I want, and I can do the other things in life I want to do, like get someone to coach me and make music, because I really want to make music, or learn to wrestle, you know. And I'm probably going to start doing these things before I have money anyway. The hardest thing right now to get over is being single. But, you know, I think you've got to get over your relationship first and then get used to being single. And then someday, maybe I'll couple up. Maybe I'll just enjoy my life for a couple of years. God knows, you know. But yeah, life is a struggle right now. I don't need your sympathy. Just, you know, I'm here to motivate myself, and I'm hoping if anyone has actually listened this far that hopefully I've actually motivated you as well. But I can imagine not, because who would be motivated by some guy with 500 subscribers getting probably 4 views on this video? It's fine. I'm talking to myself here. It's fine. I'm hoping you're enjoying the frequent uploads, by the way. I've uploaded Subway Surfers, then a gaming video, then Subway Surfers, then a gaming video. So I'm hoping you've seen them. My 2 recent 2K26 videos have started with proper gaming setups and playing proper games. I've just uploaded my first episode of GTA 5 playthrough. After this, you'll have more 2K26 videos and more GTA 5 videos coming. Make sure you're checking out my throwback shorts every day. I'm making a short out of all my old videos, going through them all, just to make sure I have some consistency on this channel, but also remind people about my own videos so they can go and check them out. They're not the best quality, I understand, but that's part of the game. You know, you got to start off somewhere, you know. Make sure you're also checking out my Thomas Rants channel over there. I am talking about Monday Night Raw, NXT, SmackDown, predictions and reviews for PLEs. And then at some point, music. I did make a video about my top songs of 2025, and I'd like to do album reviews as well, so I am going to do them at some point. So make sure you subscribe to these channels, because I'm active. I'm at TikTok and the Instagrams. They're in the description. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. If you did actually make it this far, I highly doubt it, but if you did, I appreciate you a lot. I've probably stumbled and muttered my way through this video. I apologise, but thank you.